Wow, Trump's morning is off to an awful start. Maybe one of his worst ever, and his failures are catching up to him fast. Now, Trump is in full meltdown mode, desperately trying to do damage control as the world around him crumbles. My name is Brett Meiselas with the MeidasTouch Network. Remember to hit subscribe. Let's get to 5 million subscribers. Oh, and add the MeidasTouch podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So yesterday, Trump's lies met their match when reality struck back hard. For the first time ever, Moody's downgraded the credit rating of the United States, citing the deficit and debt that is about to explode to record highs under the Trump and GOP plan. Since 1917, Moody's has given the United States the coveted AAA rating, and now for the first time, the U.S. has a AA1 rating. Moody's said the following: "We do not believe that material multi-year reductions in mandatory spending and deficits will result from current fiscal proposals under consideration." In other words, the GOP tax scam is going to blow a hole through our deficit with its increased spending and tax cuts for the rich. Moody's says that it expects federal deficits to widen to almost 9% of GDP by 2035. That's up from 6.4% in 2024. Stock futures fell and treasury yields rose after the downgrade. And let me just tell you the real-world implications of all this. When the U.S. loses its AAA status, it's not just symbolic. Higher treasury yields means the government pays even more interest. Interest rates go up everywhere. That means mortgages, business loans, credit cards, and so on. All that gets more expensive. Confidence in the U.S. financial system is further eroded, which could lead to a weakened dollar and even higher inflation. This is a major warning sign, showing that things are heading in the wrong direction. And you all know by now, there is always a tweet, and we always bring the receipts. So check this out from none other than Donald Trump in 2012 when Barack Obama was president. Trump wrote, quote, "You get what you vote for. U.S. credit rating is about to be downgraded once again." Well, Trump voters, let me echo Donald Trump here for a second when I say, you are getting what you voted for, and we are all paying the price. And get ready, because in a few moments, I want to show you Trump's complete and utter meltdown over a brutal loss he was hit with by the Supreme Court. But first, that so-called big, beautiful tax bill I mentioned, that's what Trump likes to call it anyway. Well, as of now, it is a big, beautiful bust. The Republican Party rebuked Donald Trump's demand yesterday for Republicans to unite and push the bill through, and instead the party plunged into chaos. Trump had posted the following: "Republicans must unite behind the one big beautiful bill. Not only does it cut taxes for all Americans, but it will kick millions of illegal aliens off of Medicaid to protect it for those who are the ones in real need." I'll pause there just to say that is a complete and total lie. That is not happening, and this bill is going to strip away Medicaid from Americans who actually rely upon it. Trump continued, "The country will suffer greatly without this legislation, with their taxes going up 65%, blah, blah, blah." I'm not going to read the rest of his propaganda, but I just want to show you how Republicans ignored him completely. The bill was blocked in the House Budget Committee with 5 Republicans voting against it. That should have been the easiest of the votes, like by far. Now, don't think the Republicans all of a sudden had a change of heart, suddenly got nice. Some of them think that the bill actually needs to cut Medicaid even more, while some are afraid of what the cuts could mean for their re-election chances. Some are upset about the cap on the SALT deductions. You basically have all these warring factions within the GOP, and it looks like that's going to get even messier and more complicated when it heads to the Senate. The House Budget Committee, meanwhile, is scheduled to reconvene on Sunday night at 10 p.m. Eastern to give this vote another shot. And as Trump was blowing up our economy, what was he worried about? Well, Trump was posting that because of him, Taylor Swift is no longer hot. You heard that right. Trump wrote the following: "Has anyone else noticed that since I said I hate Taylor Swift, she's no longer hot? I mean, she just finished the most successful tour in history, like literally in history. It brought in billions and billions of dollars. And then these MAGA influencers like clockwork have to come out of the woodwork, and Trump boosts these people. Losers like an account named Cat Turd, who's like an older guy who spends, by his own admission, 15 hours a day on X or Twitter, whatever people call it. They pile on and they say things like this: 'Just so you know, she was never hot.'" Okay, Cat Turd. Trump was also whining about and threatening Bruce Springsteen after the boss delivered powerful remarks against the Trump administration during his European tour. Trump posted, "I see that highly overrated Bruce Springsteen goes to a foreign country to speak badly about the President of the United States. Never liked him, never liked his music or his radical left politics, and importantly, he's not a talented guy. Just a pushy, obnoxious jerk who fervently supported crooked Joe Biden, a mentally incompetent fool and our worst president ever, who came close to destroying our country. If I wasn't elected, it would have been gone by now. Sleepy Joe didn't have a clue as to what he was doing, but Springsteen is dumb as a rock and couldn't see what was going on, or could he, which is even worse. This dried out prune of a rocker, his skin is all atrophied, ought to keep his mouth shut until he gets back into the country. That's just standard fare. Then we will all see how it goes for him. I don't know about you, that seems like a threat to me. A threat from a whiny, petulant baby, but a threat nonetheless. And because I know it bothers him so much, and because it's a powerful message, let me just show you Springsteen's remarks in England one more time. It's powerful. Watch this.
There's some very weird, strange, and dangerous shit going on out there right now. In America, they are persecuting people for using their right to free speech and voicing their dissent. This is happening now. In America, the richest men are taking satisfaction in abandoning the world's poorest children to sickness and death. This is happening now. In my country, they're taking sadistic pleasure in the pain that they inflict on Royal American workers. They're rolling back historic civil rights legislation that led to a more just and plural society. They're abandoning our great allies and siding with dictators against those struggling for their freedom.
What did I tell you? Powerful, powerful stuff right there. And if you thought Trump's meltdown over that was bad, I still got to show you his reaction to his brutal loss at the Supreme Court. But first, let me talk about a story that's not getting nearly enough attention, in my opinion, and this relates to Trump's budget proposal. Because viewers of MeidasTouch know that climate issues are very important to us, and so I want to make sure we're always highlighting important stories on the topic. And right now, as we speak, House Republicans are calling for billions of dollars in funding cuts for Biden-era climate and environmental programs. This includes, by the way, the Biden clean energy tax credits. Environmental groups are sounding the alarm. They say that these proposals would pave the way for more oil and gas industry activity on public lands. That would increase greenhouse gas emissions that cause the warming of the planet to increase. Republican House committees are targeting these climate initiatives, which passed as part of the Inflation Reduction Act. These initiatives were passed to slow climate change and boost clean energy such as wind and solar power. We're going to keep you posted on all the developments related to these climate policies as Republicans continue to work on this bill, so check back in. Okay, back to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court yesterday blocked Donald Trump's use of the Alien Enemies Act to deport Venezuelans in a 7-2 ruling, with Alito and Thomas dissenting. They sent the case back to the Fifth Circuit for a new decision. Well, Trump did not take that news well, to say the least, and he made an all-caps post saying the following: "The Supreme Court won't allow us to get criminals out of our country." As legal reporter and editor-in-chief of All Rise News, Adam Klasfeld wrote, Trump once again is lying here. The Supreme Court majority wrote, "The government may remove the named plaintiffs or putative class members under other lawful authorities. The due process, however, is not optional." Then Trump made another post writing the following, and this is just so crazy. "The Supreme Court has just ruled that the worst murderers, drug dealers, gang members, and even those who are mentally insane who came into our country illegally are not allowed to be forced out without going through a long, protracted, and expensive legal process, one that will take possibly many years for each person, and one that will allow these people to commit many crimes before they even see the inside of a courthouse. The result of this decision will let more criminals pour into our country, doing great harm to our cherished American public. It will also encourage other criminals to illegally enter our country, wreaking havoc and bedlam wherever they go. The Supreme Court of the United States is not allowing me to do what I was elected to do. Sleepy Joe Biden allowed millions of criminal aliens to come into our country without any process, but in order to get them out of the country, we have to go through a long and extended process. In any event, thank you, Justice Alito and Justice Thomas, for attempting to protect our country. This is a bad and dangerous day for America." Okay, let me pitch you an idea. Maybe you follow the law, okay? Maybe you don't make up that we're being invaded and are at war with Venezuela. Maybe, like the Supreme Court said, you just give people due process or hire more judges. Things like what the Democrats were trying to pass with that bipartisan bill, that border bill that you torpedoed last year. Remember that? Oh, and by the way, I bet you haven't heard about this. Ken Delanian is now reporting that the Trump administration has decided to permit the sale of devices that enable regular firearms to fire like machine guns. A move that one person familiar with the matter said it was by far the most dangerous thing this administration has done on gun policy. Two people familiar with the matter told NBC News the Justice Department has signed a settlement in a lawsuit brought by the NRA, the National Association for Gun Rights, rather. The lawsuit challenged an ATF rule banning forced reset triggers, devices that allow semi-automatic weapons to fire rapid bursts of bullets. So, all the stories we just went through, is this a stable person that we're dealing with? I mean it. I'm not being facetious here. I mean it. Objectively asking. Or is this a person actively destroying our country day by day? And while some in the media want to focus on Joe Biden being old for some reason, we're laser focused on the issues that matter to you, to your family. The disastrous GOP tax scam bill, our credit rating being downgraded, the one-year inflation expectations soaring to 7.3%, the climate crisis, the destruction of due process, of our laws, of our entire legal system, the corruption and bribery that is currently taking place. The corporate media is all about these distractions. But that's why independent media is more important than ever. So thank you for staying focused, for understanding the moment that we are in. And so let's continue to set the narrative. Subscribe now to our YouTube channel. Add the MeidasTouch podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Leave a 5-star review there if you can. It just takes a few minutes. Join us on Substack at MeidasPlus.com. Once again, I'm Brett Meiselas from MeidasTouch. Thanks for watching.
The truth is more important than ever. Check out our new Truth Over Lies collection at store.MeidasTouch.com. All 100% USA union made.